to balance the laws. It's a metaphor. A metaphor. Okay. Here, the human body, the human of here is described as a judge who is expected to hear a particular situation. It's a metaphor. So what did the tongue do? The tongue did all it could to fight the case both for the nose and the eyes. Okay, it was a special covering. It was a special case. And in all this, the most important, the chief baron, the most important and powerful person was the ear, because he was going to give the final verdict. And what was he doing? He was going to show good judgment. He was listening to every single argument that the tongue was putting across. In behalf of the nose, it will quickly appear. And your lordship, he said, will undoubtedly find that the nose has had spectacles always and wear, which amounts to possession time out of mind. Okay. So, well, when it comes to the nose, my lord here refers to the ear. It is undoubtedly true that the spectacles rest upon the nose. So actually speaking, most amount of time is used up from the spectacles by the nose. Okay, you don't always watch through your spectacles. You don't always read through your spectacles. But the spectacle, whether you're using it or no, is constantly resting on your nose. So actually speaking, the nose is constantly playing a role in a person's life when he wears a spectacle. Then holding the spectacles up to the court, your lordship observes, they are made with a straddle as wide as the ridge of the nose is. In short, designed to sit close to it, just like a saddle. Okay, so what is the tongue saying? The tongue is saying that whenever a spectacle is made, the first thing that is looked over before anything else is the frame of the spectacle. And the frame is one that has to sit on your nose properly. All right, so the ridge is nothing but this little bridge on your nose. Your nose bridge is the one that actually defines what spectacles you wear. It has to sit, it has to deposit itself so well. And that is why the nose plays an absolutely important role. All right, because it's like a saddle, it's like a raised bridge. And that's where your spectacles will sit on. Again, would your lordship a moment suppose, 'tis a case that has happened and may be again, that the vices or continents had not prayed. Who could wear spectacles then? All right. So here the tongue is saying, just imagine if a human being didn't have a nose, or if a face, a visage is a face. If a face didn't have a nose, then where would the spectacles lie on your face? All right. And who would ever be able to wear spectacles? Would it be possible for anyone to wear spectacles? So he's asking the judge, he's asking the ear to contemplate whether the spectacles would ever be able to rest on a person's face without a nose. That's how important the nose is. Okay, last two stanzas, the last line of the second last stanza. Designed to sit close to it just like a saddle. This is an alliteration. S is repeated in sit and saddle. It is also a simile. It's also a simile where a direct comparison is made between a saddle and a spectacle. Okay, a saddle is nothing but a little bridge between two high points, between two valleys. And here clearly the author or the poet has used the saddle to describe the bridge between the nose that is used for the spectacle. So there's a direct comparison made between the saddle and the spectacle. It's a simile. Last line of the last paragraph on page 88. Pray who would or who could wear spectacles then? First, it's an interrogation because it's a question mark. So it's an interrogation because it's a question mark. Second, it's an anticlimax. Anticlimax, because first he says who would and then he says who could. So in the same line, he's directing two different questions. That's why it's an anticlimax. Okay. Let's go to the next stanza. On the whole, it appears, and my argument shows, with the reasoning the court will never condemn, that the spectacles plainly were made for the nose, and the nose was as plainly intended for them. So, what does the tongue say? The tongue cannot condemn. Condemn is disapprove. So, for some reason, the court will always agree that the spectacles were made for the nose, and the nose on a person's face is made for spectacles only. The third line, that the spectacles plainly were made for the nose, is an inversion. Okay, the third line is an inversion. It should actually be written as that the spectacles were plainly made for the nose, not plainly were made. So it's an inversion. Okay. Next. Then shifting his side, circle the word his. Your his refers to tongue. Your his refers to tongue. As a lawyer knows how, he pleaded again in behalf of the eyes. But what were his arguments, few people know. But the court did not think they were equally wise. Okay, like a thorough lawyer who can twist and turn a case, who can switch sides wherever he wants, wherever he's getting the winning case, he switches sides. And now he makes arguments for the eyes. But only people know that the arguments made for the eyes were not wise enough as the arguments that he made for the nose. That means he was a prejudiced lawyer. He was a lawyer who was partial and he was only supporting the nose. So he didn't make proper arguments to the eyes. And in the bargain, it seemed like the eyes were actually losing the case. So his lordship decreed with a great solemn tone. Solemn is very formal, right? Structured. Decreed is to give an order officially. Decisive and clear, without one if or but, that whenever the nose put his spectacles on, by daylight or candlelight, eyes should be shut. All right. And what is the lordship? Your lordship circle refers to the year. The lordship refers to the year. Okay. What did the lordship say in a very firm voice? His decision was absolutely clear. There was no if, there were no buts, there were no conditions. What did he say? That if the nose puts the spectacles on, be it by night or be it by day, the eyes should be shut. So if not for the nose who put the spectacles, the eyes would never be able to see through the spectacles. So it's because of the nose that puts on the spectacles first and holds up the spectacles for the eyes, that the eyes can see through the spectacle. And that is why the decision was made in favor of the nose. And the nose seemed to have won the contest only because it held the spectacles on the face and it helped the eyes actually look through the spectacles. All right. So the second stanza on page 89, the first line is a simile. The first line is a simile. Okay. Here the tongue is dialectically described as a lawyer. The third line, but what were his arguments? Few people know. Inversion. Okay, it should be as, but few people know what were his arguments. The last line, by daylight or candlelight, eyes should be shut. First, it's an alliteration. Okay, SH is repeated in should and shut. Children, it's also an oxymoron. Two opposite ideas are spoken in the same sentence. Daylight, candle night. Candle night is night. Okay, so it's also an oxymoron. I'm just revising the entire poem for y'all. Please pay attention. The poet starts off by telling us that it's a funny poem, right? Where human organs are described as being, the nose and eyes are human organs that are symbolizing human behavior, of how whimsical we are and we fight over petty things. The nose and eyes are having a battle regarding who owns the spectacles. Okay, this is a dispute. The first stanza starts with the poet actually telling you that there's a contest between the nose and the eyes. Why? The contest is about who owns the spectacles. The tongue is clever and fully and skillfully is to fight for both the nose and the eyes. And the ear is the chief, the judge. He is the one who's going to make his fair and clear decision. So, first, the tongue speaks in favor of the nose. It says that if a visage, if a face didn't have a nose, it would be impossible for the eye to see through the spectacles because there would be no nose to rest the spectacles on. He also says that the amount of time that the nose spends in actually keeping the spectacles on is way more than the time the eyes use to look through that spectacle. So in all this, he believes that if at all a face wasn't one which had a nose, who would or who could wear the spectacles? It appears that whatever he's trying to say is in favor of the nose and not the eyes. And he believes that the court will not condemn, will not go against his decision. So what does he say? He says that the spectacles were made for the nose and the nose only on the person's face was made for the spectacles. But like a true willful lawyer, he decides to also fight for the eyes. However, apparently, the dispute, the claim that he made from the ICE side was one that only arguments people knew were wrong or were falsely or were one-sided, which is why the court did not think the arguments that he put forward for the ICE were actually wise. So the lordship at the end of it gives his decree. He gives his final order with clear decision. No ifs, no buts. And what is it? It is that the nose is the one that puts the spectacles on, be it morning or night, even when the eyes stay shut. And unless the nose doesn't put the spectacles on itself, the eyes will never be able to see through the spectacles. So invariably, the nose wins the case. All right. So what do you learn over here from the theme? Please write down. Theme number 1. It is a typical human behavior portrait. It is a typical human behavior portrait where each one is greedy, for power, Power, for power, full stop, continue. Here the nose and eyes, here the nose and eyes behave in an opposite manner, to their ideal nature. To their ideal nature. Critical appreciation, we have around 4 points. Please write that in the text only. First point of your critical appreciation. It is a gentle criticism. It is a gentle criticism of the judicial system. Second, the poet has mocked the judicial system. The poet has mocked the judicial system. Full stop. It is not offensive. It is not offensive. But the truth is gently presented. is gently presented. And the fourth point, the poet believes the poet believes that people should use their senses that people should use their senses in the right manner. That people should use their senses in the right manner. Okay? Somewhere on the page, on the next page, you can write down the poet's message. The poet's message. First message, the judge's verdict. The judge's verdict must always keep in mind, must always keep in mind human values, human values, and so decisions, decisions should not be based, should not be based purely, purely on law books, on law books. Second, the poet reminds us the poet reminds us about the hypocrisy, about the hypocrisy and people's greed, and people's greed, wherein they grab, wherein they grab what isn't theirs, what isn't theirs. Third point, it is a reflection, it is a reflection of how the weak, it is a reflection of how the weak are unable, are unable to defend themselves, to defend themselves, even though, even though they are, even though they are in the right side, in the right side. And the last point, people must exercise carefully. People must exercise carefully, listening, listening, and and good judgment. Good judgment. All right, those are your points that you will have to remember for this particular poem. Okay, I am going to do a little bit of writing skill with you. I'm going to give you a little to write. Don't worry, it won't be given as a homework. So yeah, let's start off with a very easy writing skill, and that's film review. Okay, film review, you don't have to open your books. Have a notebook though in your hand. Open your notebooks. There are certain things you have to write in your film review. Then I will open a review for you from your text, and then based on that, I will tell you to read it, and that's how you got to write your film review. Okay, fine. Write down film review and write down key points to remember. Key points to remember. Okay, write down. One must watch a movie. One must watch a movie before reviewing it. Before reviewing it. Second, key points must be made. Key points must be made while reviewing a movie. While reviewing a movie. Next, the following points will be touched upon. The following points will be touched upon while reviewing a movie. While reviewing a movie. First, the plot or storyline. The plot or storyline. Second, the producer and director of the movie. The producer and director of the movie. Next, the music director, or the one responsible, the music director or the one responsible for the background music score, or the one responsible for the background music score. Next, the cast and characters. The cast and characters. Next, the setting and location. The setting and location. Next part, the genre, G-E-N-R-E, the genre or the central theme of the movie. The genre or the central theme of the movie. Next, the message brought out in the movie? The message brought out in the movie. Okay. So, how would you write a film review? Write down format of a film review. Format of a film review. And write down first the title of the movie. First is the title of the movie. Second, storyline in short. Storyline in short. Third, mention every detail. Mention every detail written above. Mention every detail written above. And the last is the message of the story. Message of the film. Final one is message of the film. Okay. Now, the one that you is the jump. It's on page 118, 118. Open your books, children, to page 118. This is the one that you will, in all probability, get because most colleges give the Jungle Book only as their book review. Okay, so we will do the book review that's on page 118. We'll read it and we'll see how the little parts of it are mentioned in this entire story. The Jungle Book movie review. That's how you'll write your story, your review. You'll write a name, you'll write a dash, and then you'll write movie review. First story. Rudyard Kipling's classic tale of a young boy brought up in the jungle by various animals is brought to life once again on the big screen in a fittingly wonderful way. Mowgli leads a peaceful and happy life with a wolf pack led by Akela and Raksha until the tiger Sher Khan enters the scene bearing an old grudge and an insatiable desire for revenge. Okay, so the story is written in short, not more than 5 to 6 lines. Now starts the review. If you go to the cinema to watch that will draw you into a fantasy world of wonder, Favreau's retelling of the story, Favreau is the director, which so many of us remember from childhood, manages to weave that magic. We all know how the story plays out when the panther Bagheera helps Mowgli tries to stay away from Sher Khan. He also encounters the devious python Ka, a supersized orangutan with a soul singer's baritone named King Louis departure to obtain the red flower, which is fire, and of course, Baloo, the grizzly bear. These are the key characters, but you will also be delighted to discover a few new entrants along the way as well. It all builds on the charm of the 1967 film, which by itself is the must watch for any child. Okay, so you see, in short, it's told you about what they're searching for. It's a forest situation, how Mowgli is brought up, everything. Movie. While Seti is, of course, the only real person in here, all the animals have a fantastic degree of photorealism. And Seti's interaction with the animals throughout the duration of the movie, given that they are CGI, is completely convincing. He combines innocence and warmth with the survival skills and resourcefulness of someone far older. While Favreau is faithful to the old elements, old songs like Bear, Necessities included, of course, he also brings in a few new subtle touches as well in order to keep things interesting. While the King Louis scene is one of the many high points, Car's screen time could have been lengthened a bit though. Nonetheless, The performance of the voice cast is spot on. But more than anything, the intricate landscaping, masterful camera work, and environment actually filmed in downtown Los Angeles creates a delightfully immersive experience, heartwarming and enjoyable. If you see, it's not only good, there has been a negative point also where they wanted to extend the movie for longer reasons. Otherwise, they speak about how the movie has touched you. All right, it's heartwarming, and that's how you have to write. You do not have to write in very flowery language. Your language can be absolutely simple. Okay, this is a review. In all probability, I'm telling you again, you will get a Jungle Book. So read this review on page 118 at least 3-4 times before going for the examination. All right. Any exam coming up and any particular topic that I'm supposed to do with you all? Anybody? Because in the next 2 or 3 classes, we'll finish your syllabus. But before that, is anything coming up that I need to touch upon? Anyone, children? All right, nothing. Okay, I'll meet you all next week then. Hopefully, class will be on time next week. And we will continue from where we stop. We have one poem to do. We'll do a few more writing skills. And we'll also do the rapid reader. That is the drama section. All right. Thank you. Have a nice day.